Hi everyone, welcome to this week's installment of the Expert Series on the blog. I'm so glad you've joined us today, and I'm thrilled that we have Randi Zinn of Randi Zinn Inspire Wellness with us. So Randi, tell me a little bit about what you do.
Well, I am a newish mom, been a mom for 2 years, and I have a history of teaching yoga. I've always been really passionate about health and wellness, both food-wise and activity-wise. And I think as a parent, the whole dialogue around health and wellness, it kind of elevates because it's about getting your body back and staying the most grounded person that you can in relation to being a parent. And then over time, building this company, building this business, I've realized that my health and wellness is so important because it keeps me grounded and balanced and clear in terms of not only being a mom, but also building my work. The more I talk to other moms in a similar position as myself, either they've really managed to keep that a really grounded part of their life, or they're really struggling and they're really looking for the tools to kind of bring it all together. So what seemed in the beginning as kind of two opposing ideas, like, you know, my health and wellness regime and my desire to connect with other women who are doing inspired work, I realized are actually pieces of the same pie. So I was very inspired to create a business that really acknowledged those two important parts of being a mom, building her work dreams and her family dreams.
So what are some things that you do to cultivate healthy habits at home?
You know, I think that health and wellness in the home has to be fun. And, you know, if it becomes like work, that's exactly what it feels like. And if you kind of create a culture of laughter and exploration on some level, that's kind of how everyone feels about it. Cool. So, you know, when we go out for a family walk, you know, towards the playground, we'll pass through the farmer's market, and, you know, my son will point out the fruits and the vegetables that he likes, and he'll help me choose them. And especially in the summer when they give out little samples, you know, he gets to taste all of them, and, you know, it makes it fun for him. And therefore, what happens in the kitchen when, you know, I'm cooking or I'm giving him his dinner, it's, you know, it's that squash that we picked out, or those potatoes that you picked. So I think that you have to make it lighthearted and family-oriented. Same thing with movement. You know, it's like we don't have to just go to the gym and make it some kind of rigorous, forceful thing that we do to ourselves. We can actually, you know, have a practice at home that's just active. And by practice, I just mean something that we do all the time. So, you know, we have a family that's really musical and really dancey. So we turn on the music and we all dance, including my 2-year-old. And, you know, he'll grab his little drums and my husband plays his drums, and it becomes like a little bit of a dance party in here. But, you know, when I think maybe from the outside would be like, oh, these crazy people are dancing. What's actually happening is we're having fun as a family, and we're moving. You know, it is a workout. It is getting your, you know, your endorphins moving. It's all these good things that happen, and it can be part of the family dynamic.
Very cool. And how does yoga work into that for you? I know it's part of your own practice. Does that extend into your family as well?
Yeah, I mean, my son has been doing yoga with me since he was in my belly. So I think it's kind of a thing that he's used to seeing and feeling. So he likes to kind of pop into his little downward dogs and roll and do little tree poses, and I think he likes to show off his yoga knowledge.
That's fantastic. And speaking of yoga, because I know it is something that's very much a part of your life, how do you see sort of the principles of yoga applying to parenting?
Well, there's so many parallels between yoga and parenting. It's kind of astounding. Anyone who does yoga, I think, feels that yoga philosophy, it's really part of living. It's very parallel to life. So I'll use more of a physical example. You know, people show up to yoga and they have this idea of wanting to be more flexible and therefore wanting to arrive at a certain pose or a certain place. And I don't think parenting is that dissimilar. You know, we make this baby, we birth it, and then we kind of have this idea of the parents that we want to be. Like, oh, we want to be this happy family with this kid who's just, you know, balanced and happy and not crying all the time. And the reality is that it's not at all what you think, ever. and there's not a moment that you arrive at total happiness. It's a constant work in progress. And yoga's the same, it's like one day you hit a pose and you're like, oh my God, I hit this pose, it's amazing. And you feel really flexible and really powerful. And there's a day that same pose can be completely unapproachable and just not happening. So flexibility is a huge, huge metaphor for yoga and parenting.
Cool.
I would also say that using your breath to be present is a huge metaphor for parenting. It's like you could be in a million different places in your mind, especially if you're a mom who's working or building a business. You could be on the floor playing Legos with your child and your mind is typing emails or thinking of your to-dos or of a call you need to make. And then you suddenly realize that you're actually not sitting there with your child. This happens to me all the time. And I think that it's in those moments that I take a deep breath and I say, you know what? I have another half an hour to hang out with my child and then I can get to my emails. Let's leave the emails to then and be here with my child now. Our yoga practice is so similar. It's like you have only you have an hour or so to breathe and be on your mat and actually give yourself that space. And it's up to you to use the breathing and that experience of being present in that moment or not.
So the themes of community and togetherness are such a huge part of this movement that you're creating and inspiring wellness in women. Why are those in particular so important, particularly to women in, say, a big city like this?
Yeah, living in New York City, it can feel very overwhelming. It can feel like you're this one singular little person amidst millions. And I think when you become a mom, it's natural, it's kind of part of who we are as women biologically to want to connect and to want to feel community. We also really need each other. I think a lot of my conundrums as a mom, the moments where I really have not known what to do, those problems have often been solved just through light conversations with women that I've met at the park or met in one of my son's classes. So I think we really need each other and want that support. So that's become very real to me. And I realized that particularly women who are working or building a vision as well also need women to support and empower. I'm floored by how some of the most intriguing connections that I've made through my work have been through the other, mompreneur type of women that I've met. You'll meet someone and they're like, that's really cool what you're doing. I have a friend and she's doing something similar. You need to meet her. It's really cool. And so I think my inspiration just came from these kind of engagements that we really do need our female community. And why not set up a platform for that's more instantaneous and not as random.
Okay. All right.
Rolling.
Cool. What would you say that your manifesto for health and eating and family life is?
I would say that something as simple as bringing the family together around meals is probably what's most important to me. I got really great advice before I had my child, which was that the more that I could bring the family together around the table for meals, the more kind of cohesive we would find ourselves. So what we started doing was we do a Friday night Shabbat dinner, which is technically a Jewish ritual, but it doesn't need to be. It could really just be a simple family ritual. So on Fridays, I make a healthy, wholesome, delicious dinner. We all sit down, we light candles, and we all hold hands, and we actually say what we're grateful for the week that just passed. And it's this nice punctuation point of the week is done, I can reflect upon it, and then I can start to relax and take in the weekend and prepare myself for the next one. What this has done for our family is it's created a culture of healthy eating. We come together to eat something that's wholesome. B, we all eat the same thing together, which Amy, you've talked a lot about. It's like on a very core level, a family that eats the same healthy food together, we're kind of becoming similar. We're in a similar heartbeat together.
Absolutely.
And I love that idea. I think it's true. And then just that practice of slowing down and together saying out loud what we're grateful for. It's energetically really, really great for a family to do. So my suggestion to any family would be, cultivate the moments to sit down and eat together. And if it's not Friday night, it doesn't have to be Friday night. It could be Sunday morning brunch, and you scramble up some eggs and have some toast. But the point is that you sit down together and you kind of slow it down. It can do wonders for everybody's mindset and for that feeling of togetherness.
That's really cool, and not super difficult to implement. Like, you just need to find the time.
That's right.
In the week where everybody can be together and build on something like gratitude and build on the healthy eating and really create that as part of your family fabric. I think it's really powerful.
It's true. I think that one of the biggest challenges that families can face, and moms who are doing a lot, is carving out the time for specific things.
Yeah.
And I think once you define that thing that you want to do, whether it's getting to that yoga class or having that family meal together, in a sense, you have to prioritize it in your calendar like you would any other appointment or conference call. And it's like that time is committed to that thing, period, end of story. That's it. And that way you have, it's like a sanctuary of what you do in your family life. And it's really stabilizing. And I think it's really healthy, especially if you add good food into the mix.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love what you do. I think it's such a powerful way to approach, family living and inspiring wellness, not only in like the pocket that you inhabit most often, but how do you take that inspiration and spread it out into the world. I think it's so great.
Thank you.
Of course. If folks are looking for more information on what you're doing, or they want to get involved or get in touch, how would they reach out to you?
Well, the best place to find me is at my website, which is randyzinn.com. And that's Randi with an I.
All right.
And Zinn with two N's.
All right.
One word, randyzinn.com. And it's there that I share my writing basically every single day, and I share a lot of really great wisdom from my community. It's also there that I'm sharing information on my upcoming events. If you want to follow me on any social media, my handle is @RandyZinn.
Fabulous.
So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that good stuff.
Fantastic.
But actually, social media is a really great way to stay connected with people doing great stuff these days.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, I'd really encourage everybody to reach out and get in touch with Randi. The RZ Inspire Wellness movement is just fantastic, and please do get involved. Thank you again for joining us for this week's installment, and thank you, Randi, so much for being here.
Thank you, Amy. I'm so glad I could be here with you.
Awesome.